There is a game-changing new feature in Forza Horizon 5 that you probably didn't know about, and today I want to show you why it's so awesome. But to start off, we need to discuss something that doesn't actually sound that exciting on the surface: accessibility in gaming. Playground Games has put a ton of effort into accessibility, adding a ton of new features to allow those with vision, hearing, physical disabilities, you name it, the opportunity to experience the Horizon Festival. And while accessibility in gaming is something that is very important to me, today we're just going to be focusing on one new accessibility feature that can help every Forza Horizon 5 player: the game speed adjustment slider for offline play. It is very easy to find and adjust. If you go into your game settings and then into the accessibility tab, you will see an option to adjust your offline game speed with a little slider that goes between 40 and 100%. This allows you to slow the game down during offline play. This also gives you a ton of flexibility with how much you want to slow the game down. And this allows Forza Horizon 5 to be so much more accessible for people who are normally unable to play games that require fast reaction times. And this just makes me happy. So not only does this open up the game to more players, it also allows anyone to slow the game down a bit when you are offline so that you can practice. If you're having trouble mastering a race, a new car, or maybe your throttle control while you're learning to drift, this can be a very powerful tool to help you hone your skills, because now you can give yourself a little bit more reaction time if you need it. Typically, if you wanted to race some of the fastest cars in the game, but you were struggling just to handle the insane power and speed that some of them have on some of the races, your only option was to just go down classes and race some of the slower cars, which there's nothing wrong with. I'm a big proponent of racing all the classes of cars, especially the lower ones, because they can be a ton of fun. But what this allows you to do is to practice in those crazy high-speed cars at a lower speed, essentially saving you from having to go pick a different car in a different class if you're struggling with S2 and X-Class cars. If you're trying to learn to drift but are having trouble mastering corners or your throttle control, or struggle to figure out what gear you should be in, now you can slow it down a lot to give yourself a ton more time if you have no idea what you're doing, or maybe you're close and you just need to slow it down a little bit to give yourself a little bit more wiggle room and leeway. If you make mistakes, you can do that. Or if you just want to make yourself feel really cool, you can do that too, because I kind of felt like an action hero in an action movie doing cool stunts in slow motion. This new slow-mo feature is also great for racking up gigantic skill scores, and while it will take longer because you are going in slow motion, there is an immense level of satisfaction because you feel like a badass driving in slow motion and just watch that skill score rack up, because it's a lot easier to control. You have a lot more reaction time to avoid obstacles that would potentially ruin your skill score. Skill songs still play at regular speed, so you will have less time during the skill songs because you're moving slower, but the song still stays the same length. So while it's a ton of fun to turn the game into slow motion, do be aware that there are some trade-offs. I saw something on Twitter from Ryan McCaffrey saying that Forza Horizon 5 is more of a driving game than a racing game, and it's a subtle difference, but it's a really important one. Forza strives to be a car game for everyone, not just fans of racing games or car fans. And if you're typically someone who doesn't need any accessibility options, take advantage of the new features that have been added, like this one, that can help everyone improve their game.